Hi, everybody. We're going to get back to reading Found. We left off in the middle of chapter 21. When we left off, Jonah kind of is more on the bandwagon. He understands Catherine seeing somebody disappear. And they're trying to figure out what to do, and they're going to kind of regroup and come back to the house together after they shower and figure out what's going on. And Jonah gets a notice from Dad saying that Chip is on the phone. And when he gets there, he hears this message. "They're gone," Chip said, his voice crackling. "What's gone?" Jonah asked. "The lists on my computer. The survivors list, the witness list, the files where Catherine and I were keeping checklists about who said what. All of it's disappeared. All of it's gone. But the rest of the computer is fine. How could that be?" Chip's voice arced towards hysteria. "Calm down," Jonah said. "Maybe you just deleted something by mistake. Did you check the delete file?" "It's not there," Chip said. "Did you have everything backed up?" Silence. Evidently, Chip did not. "But you made printouts," Jonah reminded him. "Yes. I left them at the library," Chip groaned. "I didn't get them back from Angela when we climbed out the window. Any chance you picked them up, or Catherine?" Jonah thought about this. He could remember the papers lying on the table in front of Angela right before that man slammed against the door. What happened to those lists after that? When he had run around the table to get to the window, had the breeze lifted the pages in the air? After he climbed out the window and glanced back, had the papers been sliding across the table as the men were fighting? Why hadn't he paid more attention, and why hadn't he just grabbed those papers? "There wasn't time," Jonah said, his voice unnecessarily surly. "Well, maybe if I call the library," Chip said desperately, "maybe somebody found them." "Don't bother," Jonah said. "They weren't there when I went back." He was very sure of that detail. "Do you think Angela took them?" Chip asked. Jonah shrugged, forgetting that Chip couldn't see him. "What good would that do us?" Jonah said. He didn't want to speculate about where Angela might have gone with the papers. A new thought occurred to him. "Doesn't Catherine have all the pictures stored on the cell phone?" "Well, she deleted them after we downloaded everything," Chip said. "She said they took up too much space, and she was worried your parents might see them because sometimes your mom borrows the phone." That was true. Mom had been having trouble with her own phone battery. Some of Chip's despair was beginning to infect Jonah. "Then we have absolutely nothing left from those lists at all?" Jonah asked, his voice edging towards panic. "Absolutely nothing?" "Well, I still have Daniela McCarthy's phone number on my cell phone," Chip offered. "But no one else's?" Jonah said. "I used our home phone for everyone else's," Chip said. "Catherine told me I was being mean, trying to rack up minutes on my cell." "Gosh, you actually listened to her?" Jonah wanted to scream, but instead he just squeezed his eyes shut. "Stay calm," he ordered himself. "Your parents," he began slowly. "If they don't want you to talk about being adopted, do you think maybe they could have deleted your files? Do you think maybe you could go and ask them?" "My parents don't look at my computer," Chip said bitterly. "They don't care. The only people who even knew about those files were you and Catherine and me. And I didn't tell anybody. Did you tell someone? Did Catherine?" "No," Jonah said automatically. But he still had his eyes squeezed shut, and it was as if his memory was displayed on the back of his eyelids. He could see his own hand writing a message on a page, writing out all the information is on Chip's computer in the basement of his house. "Oh, no," Jonah said. His eyes sprang open again, and he caught a glimpse of his own stricken expression in his parents' mirror. "The note. The note I left for my parents when we went for the library, just in case something happened." "Did your parents read it?" Chip asked, horrified. "You think your parents came over and erased my computer? Would they even do that?" "No," Jonah said, but he took the phone and rushed down the hall to his own room. The note was still hidden in the top drawer of his desk, right next to the mysterious letter that said, "Beware, they're coming back to get you." He thought about the casual way that Dad shouted up the stairs about the phone call. Dad definitely didn't see the note. And Mom was still out running errands. She hadn't been able to see it either. But then he remembered the man at the library, the man struggling under the table as Jonah was scrambling out the window. He said, "Go, Jonah, hurry. And Jonah, I saw your note. You have to be more careful. You have to be careful where you leave anything that could be seen, anything that could be monitored." "Oh, no," Jonah moaned. It was definitely one of them. One of them who? But Jonah was peering suspiciously around his room. It just looked like usual. The NBA poster was a little crooked on the wall. The bedspread was rumpled. The closet door was open a crack with his shoes still half in and out. It was all so familiar, but it had been invaded at least twice now that he knew of. The very air seemed to crackle with the danger. Except, was it really dangerous right this minute? I mean, if people could appear anywhere that they wanted, and he was still trying to get his mind around that idea, why didn't somebody just pop in and grab him now? Why didn't they take him back with the plane? Or any one of the other seconds of his life since then? Maybe time travel wasn't easy. He said, be careful where you leave anything that could be seen later or anything that could be monitored. Seen later and monitored? Maybe the next word after that would have been later. Maybe if time travel even existed, there were limits to it. Maybe it was something about the rotation of the earth or the sun or something bizarre like that. So anything written down was dangerous because it could be seen later at any other time. And other things that could be monitored, were cell phones, pictures, computer hard drives, and Chip, I can't talk to you right now, not over the phone, Jonah said. Why not? Chip demanded. This is crazy. You sound like Angela. Yeah, well, what if Angela's right? Jonah said. Chapter 22. Jonah, Chip, and Catherine were slumped in various chairs around Chip's basement. Is this safe? Catherine asked, talking together here now. I don't even know, Jonah said. How long do sound waves even stay in the air? I can check that online, Chip said. He turned around to the computer and began to type, how long do, Chip? Jonah said, don't do that. Someone could check your search record and find out that you asked that question. So what? Chip said. I could just be doing science homework. But he did stop typing, and the words how long do just stayed up on the computer screen. Like, how long do we have to figure this out? Jonah wondered. How long do we have before someone appears out of nowhere and carries us away? He had finally told Chip about seeing an intruder in his room. The night that they first got the list of witnesses and survivors, he explained his theory about how somebody, maybe that janitor guy, the janitor enemy, I don't know, somebody had found Chip's computer files from the note, thanks to Jonah's note in his desk. And how, if whoever he was, if that person could find Jonah's note and Chip's computer files, then that person could tap their phones. And for all Jonah knew, somebody could have gone back in time to tap their phones 10 years ago, but was listening to their conversations 50 years from now in the future. Who knew? Jonah was beginning to feel completely helpless. How can you resist somebody with that kind of power? All right, Catherine said briskly. Let's just assume that talking is safe, because if it isn't, we can't do anything. Chip, do you have paper? Catherine, I told you they can read what we write down. Catherine rolled her eyes and reached down to pull down a sheet of paper. She snagged a pen out of the stack of computer games and dodged Jonah's hands when he tried to pull it away from her. I know, she said impatiently. Don't worry. I'll destroy the evidence as soon as I'm done. I'll even eat the paper if I have to. But we have to get organized now. She bent over the computer desk and wrote 2 headlines. What we know and what we think. She drew a line down the middle of the paper and dividing the topics. Under what we know, she wrote, JB gave us a witness and survivors list. And then under the category what we think, she wrote, so JB is probably not the person who stole them. Who is JB? Chip asked. Janitor boy, Catherine said. I would have called him CJB for cute janitor boy, but that's my opinion and probably not how you and Jonah feel. Catherine, Jonah growled through gritted teeth. Focus, he said. Catherine grinned, not looking chastised at all. And dimly, Jonah kind of realized she was trying to aggravate him, to jolt him out of this gloomy feeling he had. She shook her wet hair gleefully, sending drops of water all over the paper. Wait a minute. Catherine came down to Chip's house without blow-drying her hair? Jonah hadn't noticed before because he was freaked out, but this definitely meant that Catherine did not have a crush on Chip, or more likely that she thought this was more important. Jonah decided it was time to apply his brain power to Catherine. JB was trying to protect us from E, he said, pointing to the what we know category. Let's have E stand for enemy. Nobody argued with him. Okay, Catherine said after a pause and wrote it down. I think we need another category, Chip said. What we don't know. We don't know why JB is protecting us. We don't know what E wants to do with us. He pulled out another sheet and handed it to Catherine, and none of them commented on the fact that what we know got a whole sheet of paper, while what we don't know and what we think only got a half sheet. JB trying to warn Jonah, that went into the no category, but they all agreed that phones are tapped only qualified for what we think. Angela vanished into thin air, Jonah said. I'm sorry, but that goes under no. He was glad for once that Chip didn't challenge it. But without asking, Catherine added, into a time warp question mark under what we think. You know what? Under what we know, why don't you add a billion questions? Chip said. Add how, why, how did she know a time warp was there? How did she go through it today when she's been studying time travel for 13 years and hasn't gone anywhere? Catherine chewed on her pen thoughtfully. Maybe JB helped her, she said. And that's where we're going to stop.